Like I say, shout out to all of our brothers and sisters out there in social media land. This is indeed a great day to be alive. This is a day that the Most High have made. We should rejoice and be glad in it. So I think for at least that was what was on my mind a little while ago. Uh, I figured for the rest of this month, we only gonna deal with the simplistic things dealing with wisdom. So more than likely we'll spend our time in the book of Proverbs. And Proverbs is one of the books that I always recommend to brothers and sisters before they even start their journey into learning the Bible. That's the book that I recommend because it's like the most it's the most simplified book, okay? Because it ain't dealing with the history of a people, it ain't dealing with the events, the wars, it ain't dealing with no holy days, no feast days, it's not dealing with the, customary practices of heathens. So I generally recommend to the younger brothers and sisters that they begin their journey in the scripture here. And that's because, one of the things that it deals with is Proverbs is not dealing with the righteous or the wicked as two entities. It's not dealing with the wise and the foolishness as two entities. It's dealing with righteousness, wickedness, wisdom, and foolishness from the standpoint that of the twofold nature of one man and one woman. And so that's what makes Proverbs such a great resource, is because it deals with the individual. And it will cause the individual to see things, that the individual needs to see. It's going to be dealing with the spiritual structure of the inside and the fleshly man of the outside, of not the nation, of not the organization, but the individual. Because if the individual's mindset don't change and the individual's life don't change, then you see everything don't start with the individual. Everything don't start with the church. Everything don't start with the Sabbath day class or the camp. Everything starts with the mindset of the individual. And so that's where we're going to spend some of our time at, simplistic things. Now, I don't know about many of you, but me personally, my life ain't complicated. And I don't think that none of our lives are complicated because we understand these little simplistic things. We wake up every morning, we thank the Most High. We got a job to go to. On that job, we're going to face people. We got circumstances that we're going to deal with in our everyday life. See, life ain't complicated at all. However, we may experience some circumstances in the course of life that may seem to be complicated. But so we want to deal with the things that are really important. And that's the things that affect us as individuals. So we're going to open up the book of Proverbs, and we have already done some videos in the past on wisdom. And we know that one of the things that it says is that in wisdom's right hand is long life, length of days, and in her left hand is riches and honor. He said, in all things that you can desire is not to be compared to it. Silver and gold and rubies is not to be compared to wisdom. That means the materialistic things. In most cases, it's the materialistic things that cause wisdom to have to take a back seat as we chase after these things in our life. But so we're going to look at some simplistic things, even for some of our parents that got children and young children, teenage children, wisdom that you can pass down to them that our children need wisdom more now than ever before. So that's what we're going to look at. And you know, I put a post out there on Facebook just the other day, and I'm going to ask brothers and sisters with humility. I'm going to ask, when we put a post out there, it's not for everybody to start arguing about. Oh, it's good. Everybody can share their opinion, and that's fine. But that going back and forth and trying to prove somebody's wrong, that's why we're dealing with this. It don't make no difference where nobody else is at in their thought process. You see, it's not to turn into no argument because one person think he knows, another person don't think he knows. Everybody got a perspective, and everybody have to have the freedom to exercise a response to their perspective without other people getting offended and wanting to argue. And next thing you know, everybody talks in scripture, but as though God's word gonna fight against itself. So we want to tell brothers and sisters, when we be on your guard for that. Be on your guard for that, because that is that don't look good. So we just going to take off running at chapter 9 with her introduction. And chapter 9 says, shouts out to all of you brothers and sisters that's on the line. I probably didn't get to greet y'all because I don't always see the names going up and down. So to everybody that's on the line that had an opportunity of leisure to chime into the video, peace and blessings be upon you all. So we're going to deal with the simplistic thing. And you know what? As best as I can, I try to wake up listening to this book every morning, because this is the thing that's going to guide us throughout the course of our day. So I'm also myself, while we're going through this, going to be looking for the wisdom that I'm going to need to face the things that I got to deal with too. So the Most High by His Spirit is about to start teaching all of us concerning wisdom. All right? Chapter 9, verse 1 says, Wisdom had built her house. She had hewn out her 7 pillars. She had killed her beasts. She had mingled her wine. She had also furnished her table. She had sent forth her maidens. She cries upon the high places of the city. Whoso is simple, let him turn in here. As for him that won't understand it, she says unto him, Come over here and eat of my bread, and drink of the wine which I have mingled. Forsake the foolish, and live, and go in the way of understanding. He that reproveth a scorner gets to himself shame, and he that rebuke a wicked man getteth to himself a blot. So basically, the way have been made for all men to possess wisdom. So he says she stands in the high places. That means that anywhere men and women are, wisdom is there. And wisdom said, come on in here and drink of my wine, eat of my bread. Forsake the foolish and then live. Remember, length of days is in her right hand, riches and honor is in her left hand. To live, according to wisdom, length of days, then you're going to have to forsake the foolish. Now, the thing is that you have to say, well, what is foolish? Because foolish can't be just boiled down to people. You see, that wisdom going down and start pulling the cover off, because everybody has some type of foolish or foolishness in their life that have to be forsaken. Everybody. Whether it can be you still have not gained the ability to control your attitude, whether you still have a quick temper, whether you still have a desire to do something that you know is no good for you. See, the foolishness is up on the individual to recognize that as pertaining to wisdom, because you're going to eat wisdom's bread. That's where the spotlight is going to go. And so the foolishness in your life and my life is going to have to be forsaken. Now, it's up to us as the individual to be able to look at our own life and and determine what it's speaking about. Forsake the foolish and live, and go in the way of understanding. He that reproves a scorner gets to himself shame, and he that rebuke a wicked man gets himself a block. Now, somebody might be saying, well, what is a scorner? So what we're going to do is we're going to Google the definition of scorner, because we want brothers and sisters to have a full understanding of what the scripture's saying. Definition for scorner.
Here's the definition of scorner. A person who expresses contempt or disdain for someone or something.
Now, a scorner is a person who expresses contempt or disdain for someone or something. So he said, look, if you're going to operate according to wisdom, you got to know who a scorner is. A scorner, somebody who expresses contempt or disdain, is somebody that don't want to be bothered with your mindset or what you think. Somebody who's in contempt or striving against it. So when you know people don't believe the same thing that you believe, if you know people don't understand Israelite heritage, and you over there trying to fool with a Christian, he said, listen, you got to understand, you dealing with a scorner. What you're going to get is you're going to get shame to yourself because of your lack of wisdom or understanding how you're supposed to use what it is that you have. Wisdom is directing us in how we're going to use the things that we are learning. So say if you learn wisdom, you can't have knowledge and then be spending your life dealing with scorners and then expecting good results. This is one of the things that happen to us a whole lot, no matter where you come from. When we deal with religious ideologies, we all become scorners because every man sees truth according to his own understanding of whatever he's a part of. A case in point. Take the Torah Center man versus the Israelite New Testament and Old Testament believer. You see, they will become scorners to each other. One gonna be a scorner, and then one gonna get shamed because he don't have no business dealing with the person that don't have the same mindset that he have. So the instruction of wisdom is telling you, he who reproves a scorner, let's read it again. He who reproves a scorner. Okay, now there's another word. Somebody say, well, I don't, what reprove mean? Let's go see what reprove mean. Definition of reprove.
Here's the definition of reprove. Reprimand or censure someone.
Now, to reprimand somebody or to censure somebody is to reprove them, to try and correct somebody, to try and, you know what I'm saying, be the authoritative figure over telling somebody what they can and can't do, or chastising somebody. That's what it means to reprove. So the Most High is saying here, and when you're dealing with wisdom, wisdom is showing you how to use God's word in the proper way, and how to apply it to our life in the proper way. Let's say, whatever you know, he who reprimands, corrects, or chastises somebody who has a complete different mindset other than you, who don't believe what you believe, that man gets to himself shame. Well, you saying, well, I'm using God's word. Why am I the one that's going to be shamed? You're going to be shamed because you ain't going according to wisdom. Wisdom is telling you, do not deal with these particular type of individuals. He who reproves a scorner You know, you take your kids to church every Sunday, but you know your neighbor don't take their kid to church every Sunday. And you know that. You know their lifestyle is different. So you have no right to expect that the neighbor's kid is going to be conducting themselves like your kid is. He who reproves a scorner or somebody whose child has not been raised in that type of manner, get to yourself shame from the parent who don't believe what you believe. This is where a lot of wars come from, because we don't understand how to use wisdom with what it is that we have. The Most High said, you don't reprove, chastise, rebuke, or try to reprimand. You know what? No Torah center man have no authority to be trying to reprove or reprimand a New Testament Israelite, a New and Old Testament Israelite. You know why? Because their mind is already closed to the fact of the New Testament. You have no mindset in that particular area, so you cannot be an authority. So the only thing you're going to get is you're going to get strived against, because we don't see the same thing. No Israelite man have no authority to be trying to reprimand, chastise, or rebuke a Christian man whose mindset of the Messiah and gospel is completely different. And when you do these things, God's saying you are out of order, so you're going to get shamed. You're talking about wisdom now. We're not talking about words. See, wisdom will deal with the individual. Wisdom will deal with you based on how you are doing things, not how everybody else is doing it. That's why it's so important for us to have. So wisdom say, come and eat of my bread and drink of my wine that I have mingled. Not your bread, not your wine. When you come to drink of wisdom's wine and wisdom bread, that means that you have already forsook the foolish. You already forsook whatever you thought. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge me, and I'll direct thy path. See, when you forsake the foolish, forsaking the foolish is to give up your own way of thinking. And now you come and start eating the bread and the wine of wisdom, and then wisdom instruct us first on how we're going to deal with each other. Reprove not a scorner, lest you get shame to you. Because the scorners sometimes know more of the Bible than many of our brothers. And sometimes because of that scorner in his mindset, you ain't coming to tell him nothing. You see? That's like, just give you an example, case in point. In my mindset. See, I already been through the church, Christianity. I already been through, the Torah. I already been through any of that stuff. You know what I mean? But I'm saying, in my mind, if somebody come over here trying to reprove or chastise me, and they don't understand my mindset, they going to get shame to them. And the reason why they going to get shame to them is because they should have stayed within the arena that they was in, where it was much work for them to be done instead of going outside of that. And this is the type of situation that we put ourselves in when we start acquiring knowledge. But wisdom and knowledge is two completely different things. You get the knowledge, then wisdom has to show you how to use it. So wisdom say, don't take your knowledge and then go try to correct a scorner with it, lest you're going to get shame to yourself. And he says, he that rebukes a wicked man gets himself a blot. See, we ain't got no business out there trying to rebuke wicked people. Do you know how many people that had a righteous mindset stepped in some wicked people's business only to lose their lives? They get to themselves a blot. What is a blot? Blot. Blot is like stamping a black spot on something. Blot. They get themselves a blot. Either you get completely embarrassed or you get blotted out of life. So why would any righteous man be going to try to rebuke a wicked man when a wicked man don't have the same mindset? Why would somebody that's dealing with Sabbath day classes, Israelite heritage, and church be out here trying to rebuke somebody that's still gangbanging? You're going to get yourself a blot. So wisdom has instructed us on how we supposed to use what it is that we got. So there's two things that we understand today that we can apply to our life and live our life with. We understand who the scorner is. The scorner is somebody that has contempt, that's against, that has a different mindset, or disdain. He just think that what you believe is detestable. So we learn one thing is that we never try to correct that person. And then the other thing is that when we try to live a righteous life, we never go and meddle with the affairs of wicked people. You see, that's two things that we can learn today. And when we operating by them things, yep. If anybody on this thread have ever tried to correct or chastise somebody that didn't believe the same thing that you believe or didn't want to hear what you had to say, put a 7 up in there. Let me see who I got working with me. And if somebody that have a righteous mindset ever try to rebuke or chastise somebody that was doing something wicked, let me see you put a 7 up in there. I want to make sure that brothers and sisters stay in contact with the real life that we live in. Not all these books, 2,000-3,000 years ago and all that outer space stuff. You know, all things that have life are more close to God than any of these words that's on pages. So we have to be able to stay in contact with the life that we live in, because that's how not only are we going to see God manifest himself, but that's how our brothers going to see God manifest himself through us walking by and making those things written applicable. All right, so I got them brothers and sisters. They right there. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I've been there too. This is one of the common things with our younger brothers. And that's the most important part of wisdom, because wisdom, these books were originally written to give knowledge to the young man and to the discretion to the young man. These things were written to be handed down to the young man. And when we young, we are full of strength and we are zealous. And these are the things that we do. And that's why I wanted to ask that question, because we got some younger brothers on the horn. I want our younger brothers and sisters to understand, hey, man, we ain't always been where we at. We were the people that, this happened to us, where you get shamed, you know, you get rebuked. And I done been rebuked so hard by some wicked people that I done try to share something with, it make me say, oh, shoot, now you look double bad. Yeah, so all praises for that. It says, verse 9, give instructions to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. For by me days shall be multiplied, and the years of thy life shall be increased. If thou be wise, thou shalt be wise for thyself. But if thou scornest, thou alone shalt bear it. So here's another great thing of instruction dealing with wisdom. He tells you again, the benefits of wisdom is that your numbers, the days may be increased and your years may be many. Then he gives another piece of instruction. He said, give instruction to the wise, and the wise will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase his learning. Well, let's see. Because wisdom is giving you instruction to show you that if I teach you something and you can receive it, then you're going to be wiser. You see, and so that's for all of us. What is she about to teach next? Here it is. Let's see if any of us, because what we want to do is we want to be able to receive everything that's being taught. If you can learn this next thing right here, it says, teach a wise man, and they'll be yet the wiser. You have become one step wiser than you were before the video started. If thou wilt be wise, thou shalt be wise for thyself. semicolon. Pause right there. Here's what wisdom is teaching. If you're going to be wise, you have to be wise for yourself. That means that the studying of the scriptures, the going to church, the participation with these things, they cannot be motivated by any other thing outside of your heart's desire to have wisdom. Because you can do all of these things for the wrong reason. You can go to church for the wrong reason. You can read your Bible for the wrong reason. At the end of the day, he said, if you will be wise, that means that when you're going to read something, you're going to understand that whatever it is that I read, it is for nobody other than me. If you'll be wise, you will be wise for yourself. All of the wonderful things that God do for us, the wonderful things that he let us learn how to do, they are for us. Because those things that we're learning are pertaining directly to the life that we are living as individuals. If you be wise, you'll be wise for yourself, will cause you to understand that wisdom is non-transferable. That's why the Bible told us a couple of verses ahead that we wouldn't reprove scorners. Because God don't give everybody wisdom. And when God gives you wisdom, people that don't have it become scorners. Because the wisdom was never for them. The wisdom was for the one that was looking for it. So he says, if you will be wise, you will be wise for yourself. You'll understand when God teaches you something and you grab a hold to it. Hey, it ain't for you to go out and start blabbing off over your mouth. It's for you to start learning how to live by. And you know why he tells you why? He said, if you will be wise, you'll be wise for yourself. But if thou scorn, thou alone shall bear it. Here's the reason why. You get something great, and then you want to go and give it away. But when you step out of bounds and it's time for you to get punishment, you're going to get punished all by yourself. You see the difference? You see, one want to blow it off and then express it or give it out to the world. The flip side of that, it's like humility and it's like pride. You see, pride will bring you to utter shame. Humility will make you rise. But see, when you're humble, you can hold on to what it is that's been given to you, and you understand that it is yours. It's not for everybody else. If thou will be wise, thou will be wise for themselves, for thyself. You ain't reading the Bible just so you can go out here and argue with people. But that's what we do because we're not operating according to wisdom. When I'm not operating according to wisdom, I gain all of this knowledge. And now I think that I'm supposed to be a teacher. I think that I'm supposed to have a church. I think that I'm supposed to go and rebuke people or reprove people and scorn people simply because I know how to find things written in the pages of the book. Well, anybody that's willing to read the book can find things written in the pages of the book. So what authority does that make you? It don't make you authority. It brings you to shame from operating outside of the principles of wisdom. He that will be wise must be wise for himself. You're not going to go to work and work six days a week and come home with a paycheck. You know you got lights, gas, and water and car payments and all. You ain't going to go and give your paycheck away, are you? You see how we make riches and things in this world more important. But God said the same way you operate with your paycheck and you understand, I work for this money. This money is for me. This money is to take care of my life. He said that's the same way my wisdom is. He that will be wise must be wise for himself. When you put your energy into chasing after wisdom and the Most High by his Spirit allow you to lay hold on it, you should treat it like a paycheck. This is my money. Oh, no, you got to go make your own money. Oh, no, brother, I'm sorry. I paid for this car. If you're going to have a car, you're going to have to get out and do the same. Well, that's what he's saying about wisdom. He that will be wise, he must be wise for himself. Now, just imagine if all of the things that we learn in the Bible was money. Just imagine, every time somebody learns something in the Bible, the first thing they want to do is run to Facebook and start putting the scriptures up there. Just imagine if everything that you learn, just imagine if all the words that you was going to learn in the Bible was dollar bills. I wonder how many of them you'll be running out the Facebook disperser. How many of them you would disperse them? Now y'all say, now, like I said, I'm learning with y'all too. So one of the jobs of the Spirit is to make things so plain where we can understand them. If you're going to be wise, it's going to be for you. Most High don't want nobody that he give wisdom to, giving wisdom away. See, everybody that's seeking after wisdom will find her. But everybody that's going to have wisdom must seek after it. Can't nobody else give you your wisdom. So we got people that's trying to give wisdom away and they're not having the effect that they desire to have. Well, this is why. How can you have the effect in life that you desire to have if you go to work 40 hours a week and then give all your money away? How you going to have a car that you desire to ride in? How you going to have a house that you desire to live in? How you going to be able to go out and enjoy yourself at the restaurant when you give all of your stuff away? You see? But see, the thing is that the Most High said that we shouldn't compare. You see, ain't nothing can compare to wisdom. But if you won't do this with your money, why would you do it with your wisdom? When wisdom is far more greater than money. You see? Thou will be wise. Thou will be wise for thyself. Anybody ever been in a situation where you were surrounded by people cheering you on and all that and this, that, the other. But then when it was time for you to get rebuked, you got rebuked by yourself. See? That's what you mean when you done gave all your money away and now the light bill is threatening you. Now the mortgage company is threatening you. Now you threatened because you ain't got the car payment money. Now you alone gonna bear it. Who you see running to your rescue? You see, this is the result of us when we get wisdom and we don't understand why God give it to us. That's the end result that we find ourselves in. Because after all, wisdom is the teacher of instruction. So she instructed. A wise man will hear and be even wiser. Now, if you're going to be classified as a wise man, you got to hear these simplistic principles for living. And as I said before, wisdom make it plain because she'll give you an example that cannot be denied. I know that it ain't nobody on this thread that's going to go to work for 40 hours and then can't wait to get their paycheck so they can start running out there giving it away. I know, ain't nobody on this thread operating like that. Well, the Bible is saying if you won't operate like that with mammon, the things of this world, then you shouldn't operate like that with wisdom. Because wisdom and money and materialistic things in this world are a hand and a glove. So, I hope y'all got blessed by that. And it's not that you're being selfish and not that you're being stingy. I just use the money as an example. Because I know you ain't doing that with your money. But what I want you to understand is that if you're going to be wise, you got to learn how to apply that to your life where your wisdom is concerned. Because when God starts learning us things, we are anxious, we are zealous to go and give those things away. But that makes you unwise. A foolish woman is clamorous and knoweth nothing. For she sitteth at the door of her house on a seat in the high places of the city, to call passengers who go right on their ways. You know, you're talking about a spiritual sense, because, you know, you've been seeing throughout the whole thing, you're dealing with wisdom. It's dealing with she. Remember, I told you that wisdom is dealing with the twofold nature of a man, all right, or of a woman. One part of their nature is spiritual. Another part of their nature is fleshly. So now we goes from us to operate in some spiritual principles immediately to some fleshly principles. See, those things I just shared with you a minute ago, they was right there to affect your heart and affect your thinking spiritually, to give you some armor that other people can't see, that other people can't understand, but you know how to deal with these particular things. Now she immediately goes to the flesh, because man has two natures, you see? And he can accept the wisdom of the spirit, but he also have to accept the wisdom that's pertaining to his flesh as well. So it starts by saying, a foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knoweth nothing. Somebody want to know, well, what did they mean, clamorous? Does that mean glamorous? No, I assure you they're two completely different words, but we're going to go see. The definition of clamorous.
Here's the definition of clamorous: making a loud and confused noise.
Now, wisdom tells you, now, it just taught us that if we were going to be wise, we would be wise for ourselves. That means that the things that the Most High is teaching us, we will learn how to use for ourselves. And those things will be hidden in our heart. Here, that fleshly part of wisdom deals with, gives you a depiction of a clamorous woman. She is loud and stubborn. That's what it means to be clamorous. To be loud, to be noisy, to be loud and confused noise, jostling, expressing or characterized by vehement protests or demands. The clamorous radical wing party. So it shows you what clamorous is, and it tells us what we shouldn't be like. He said this foolish woman is clamorous and simple and knows nothing. For she sit at the doors of her house on the seat in the high places of the city to call passengers who go right on their way. Now remember, wisdom says she sat in the high places. And called me, and whosoever wills, wise, whosoever be wise, come, let him eat of my bread, drink of my wine. See, you talking about the spirit, and then you talking about the flesh. But now this one gives a depiction of an out-of-control woman that calls men the same way in this world that wisdom is calling men in the spiritual sense. She called the passengers who go right on their way. Whoso is simple, let him turn in here. And as for him that won't understand it, she said, stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he knows not that the dead are there, and that their guests are in the depths of hell. So now you are seeing a combination of what it means to follow after wisdom in the spirit, and what it means to follow after foolishness in the flesh. Because both this world and wisdom is calling men into a particular place. You got to make the choice which place you're going to go into. If you're going to go into the place to where the greatest things in this life are pertaining to fleshly, earthly things, when you know that it says nothing in this world is to be compared with wisdom. It said this foolish woman, loud and clamorous, calls men who go right on their way, and she tells them the same thing wisdom tells. Come on over here. Come on over here. See, that's that wicked part of life. Come on over here. Come on over here. Bread eaten in secret and stolen waters is sweet. Come on over here. You don't need all that wisdom. You don't need to be doing that righteousness. Come on in here. Come on over here. Hustler, player, come on over here. Sister that don't want to act right, come on over here. Do things your own way. Do it your own way. You ain't got to, they don't know who you are. They don't know what's in your heart. They can't tell nothing about your life. Come on over here. He said what they know, that they don't know, is that the dead is there. When you live in your life apart from wisdom, then you don't have no other door to walk through except the door of this clamorous woman of life that's calling simple-minded men. Come on in here. Come on in here. You can get away with it. Don't nobody see you. Can't nobody judge you. You know what I mean? He said, but they know not that the dead are there, and that her guests are in the depths of hell. Her guests are in the depths of hell. So now you understand that you ain't literally talking about a physical women, but you're talking about the operational of operating in the flesh versus that of the spirit. Will be controlled in a completely different way. So it says, let's go. We're going into the 10th chapter now. Now, remember that whoever is taught these things, you got to incorporate these things into your life, because our lives are simplistic in nature, but they become complicated when we have to make decisions in the absence of wisdom. So that's why we're doing this. This is no deep message. This is anybody, any little child, you can set them and they'll be able to understand these principles. He become poor that deals with the slack hand, but the hand of the diligent is made rich. Now, this is for brothers and sisters that they can understand, is that being on different levels, God give everybody something, but what he give you is not all that you can have. Now, wisdom is showing you that what all that you've been given in this life is not all that you have, and it makes you understand why some of us have more trouble than others. Now, we already established the fact that in her right hand was length of days, and in her left hand was riches and honor. So when you get wisdom, you get everything. You get no lack, and you get length of days, because that instruction teaches you how to live. Here it says, he becometh poor that deals with a slack hand. What does it mean to deal with the slack hand? To deal with the slack hand means to be plagued with laziness. My refusal to get up and go after the things that I desire to have. My refusal to work. He that deals with the slack hand shall become an impoverished man. But the hand of the diligent makes a man rich. So that means that the diligent is one that's always occupied in some type of work. And it's that thing that causes it. Now, listen, sister, take nothing away from you. You got to be able to recognize when you got a lazy man. See, if you got a lazy man, that means that he don't have no type of wisdom, period. And you see, that man right there is going to be impoverished, not just in his spirit, but he's going to be impoverished in the life that he is living. And me, myself personally, I have been a man with a slack hand before. So I kind of got an idea. Most of us have been through many of these things that we're going to go over. But this one here is make you understand. So everybody that's in lack ain't in lack because the Most High haven't blessed them. Some people in lack because they have a slack hand. Oh, man, I can't get that, man. I can't do that. Man, you know, the white man this, man, the white man that, you know. Man, you know, I had to quit that job, man, you know. Man, you know, them people down there don't like me, you know what I mean? You know, the slothful say it's a lion in the street. They got every excuse in the world as to why they can't do nothing. And because their hand is slack, they become impoverished. Man, I just can't understand them words in that Bible, man. You know, I don't know where to start at, man. You know, and you know what, man. You know that's a man-made book, man. You know what I mean, man. That Bible contradicts itself. You know, he that deal with a slack hand shall be an impoverished man. So not only you impoverished in the physical sense, you're impoverished in the spiritual sense as well. But the hand of the diligent will make a man rich. The man that gets up and works every day to make something happen, Now, sisters, you got the opportunity to choose what kind of man you want to live your life with, because based on what you live in your life with, that's going to determine a major portion of your mindset and your thinking, and that's going to play a major factor in whether the day is going to be one that you can rejoice in, or it's going to play a major factor in how you feel when you go to work. And it's going to play a major factor all the way across the board. You got to know what type of man you're going to have. Either you're going to have a slack-handed man or you're going to have a diligent man. And when a woman, I believe, has a diligent man, she's pleased. It changes her whole outlook. When she goes to work, she's fired up because of what she got. When she come home, she's fired up because of what she got. When she's doing anything that she's doing, she's fired up because of what she got. Because she got a man that has a diligent hand. But this is the flip side. Because wisdom is not limited to just men. Brother, you got to know when you got a slack-handed woman. I done worked all day and I come home, the house still ain't clean. Damn, what? The bathroom ain't clean. You ain't cooked nothing to eat. You know what I mean? Kids running around. You got to know when you got a slack-handed woman. Because it's going to affect your psyche and your outlook. And the day-to-day, the day that God giving you to wake you up so that you can be impactful in that day, that is going to impact your ability to operate according to the wisdom that God giving you. Because why? You are making decisions based on a foolish man to have a slack-handed woman around. Hello, somebody. Hello, Walls. Slack-handed. He who deal with a slack hand shall become impoverished. And while you chasing after wisdom, chasing after your riches, you got somebody that's holding your pocket, running the other direction, chasing after poverty. And it makes no difference whether you're a woman or a man. The principles and the applications of wisdom are the same because we are one person. When we're dealing with wisdom, baby, you're dealing with the twofold nature of one man, because every man has a twofold nature. In the beginning, God made him just like him. Behold, all Israel, the Lord thy God is one, and besides him there is no other. And Adam was created in his image, in his likeness, and he was just like God. And God said, it's not good for man to be all one, alone. And so there God took and separated the man from female. And they have twofold natures. The twofold nature of one man. So it ain't enough for a man to get wisdom. If a man gets wisdom, that means the masculine and the feminine have to obtain it. Twofold nature of a man is right there in the book. What's up, cuz? So we dealing with the simplistic principles of wisdom because we want to have a good life. We want to learn how to get things. I'm tired of getting things. Got things today and they gone tomorrow. I learned how to get it, but I ain't learned how to keep it. He that deal with the slack hand shall become poor. A slack hand is also dealing with the inability to be stabilized. 1 minute I'm up, 1 minute I'm down, 1 minute I'm up, 1 minute I'm down, 1 minute I'm up, 1 minute I'm down. Why? Because I'm dealing with a slack hand. And it makes no difference whether sometime when I'm up, I get lazy and don't want to do as much, or when sometime I'm up, like in my case in time past, once I get up, I relapse back into my same foolishness, and then next thing you know, I'm back down again. But it don't make no difference. That's what it means to have a slack hand. A slack hand is not a steady hand. A slack hand is not a steady hand. So it's either he who is a lazy man shall become poor, or he who is an unstable man in his business shall become poor. But the hand of the diligent shall make him rich. The hand of the diligent. And one of the things I'm starting to understand right now in this particular hour is that as long as we are living life, we will never have enough. We will never have enough, because the eye is never satisfied with seeing. We will never have enough, never have enough, never have enough. I remember when I couldn't save a dime, didn't have credit to buy bubble gum. And now that I can find a way to save a little piece of change here. It ain't much, but I'm still practicing. You see, and you know, now that my name is a little bit better, I might be able to get some on credit. You know, I find that it ain't enough. It ain't enough. It ain't enough. Because you need more, 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 and more. And that's where the hand of the diligent come in from. The hand of the diligent. You understand that you ain't never gonna have enough in this life. You can't have enough in this life. You don't know. You got to be a blessing to somebody. You know what? The money you making now, you might not make tomorrow. You got to have a steady hand and keep pushing. I don't care how high the mountain get in your life. You got to keep moving. You got to keep moving. You got to keep moving. Somebody might die, might need money. Your kids might need money. Your wife might need money. Some unforeseen calamity might come into your life, and you might need money. But if your hand is slacked, see, he who deal with the slack hand can be poor. And one thing that I understand is that where you learn, when you get to the point where you learn, I got to keep pressing. I got to be as though I don't have nothing. I got to be as you know what? I got to be as if I'm still trying to get it. Because you have things that happen in life that can come and wipe everything that you got away. Right? As soon as you sat down. You got a story in the Bible where the king, that he acquired so much wealth, he said, I'm going to tear down my old barn and build a bigger barn to hold all of my stuff. So they tore down the old barn, and they built the bigger barn to hold all of his stuff. And then he sat down and he said, I said to my soul that we have everything we need, and I'm full, and I don't want for nothing, and I don't lack anything. And the Most High said, you fool, you are always going to be in lack. He said, but because you're a fool tonight and you done got comfortable, this is the last day you're going to see on earth. And so God killed him for that. When we get to the point to where we think we got enough, we ain't never got enough. We ain't never got enough, because if I get to the point to where I say I don't have enough, then guess what? My hands cease to be diligent because I don't feel like it's nothing else for me to do. He that deal with a slack hand shall become poor. This world will tell you that you work so many years that you retire and go sit down and do nothing, and then God kills them quickly. But the hand of the diligent, he'll retire in this world system, but his hand is still going to be diligent. Ever notice how the men that live a long time, or the men that work a long time, the men that are diligent a long time? No. So we don't want to be, if you don't want to be poor, I tell it to any of my brothers, if you're in lack, it's because your hand is slack. Your hand can be slack in two different ways, a couple of different ways. Your hand can be slack in the form of laziness, or your hand can be slack in the form of being unstable with your decision making. You're making decisions and wisdom ain't going before you. And it's causing the life to be unstable. Bad habits and hang-ups, addictions, and all of those things can cause our hand to be slack, cause us to waver. So when you start dealing with wisdom, wisdom runs right directly to the source of the individual's problem. Because can't nobody tell the individual what his problem is. He got to be able to understand that as wisdom speak to him. So if we understand that excuses don't have no place when it comes to wisdom, because wisdom is the embodiment of God's knowledge and righteousness. There is no excuse that you can give wisdom. Why? Because wisdom got the answer to every problem. He that gathereth in the summer is a wise son, but he that sleepeth in the harvest causes shame. See, you got two kind of people. You got the hand of the diligent, and then you got the slack-handed man. One of them gathering in the summer because they understand that summer is the most productive time to do things. And don't say he out there spending in the summer. It said he gathering. It's an area I had to learn how to, still learning. I'm learning in this area. How to operate through the summer, because that's the time that I work. How to operate through the summer and gather, not just be throwing away. You're wise because you know your summer going to come to an end. You're going to go into a new season. And it says, but he that sleeps during harvest. Oh, man. He caused shame. So we gather in summer the things that we need. Harvest represents the end of summer. That ain't no time to sleep. Because what I've gathered during the summer might not be enough. Now I got to go out there in the harvest. Harvest is where everything is over with. Ain't nothing growing no more. But it's time to reap up and get the last thing that's left. Sort of like cutting grass all summer. Grass all growing all summer, all summer, all summer. He who gathers through the summer, gather through the summer. But in harvest, that ain't no time to go to sleep. So harvest is when all the leaves fall off the trees. That's when harvest is. Harvest when the leaves fall off and branches need to be pruned and stuff like that. He said, but now if you just doing what you're doing to the ending of a thing, what you missing the harvest, you sleeping. We eventually gonna end up being somebody that need help. Now you have to determine where these things fit into your own life at. But we do get the message. He who gathers in the summer. Okay, you can relate this to your life, to the life that we live in. The summer of our life is when we are in our youthful stages. Okay, the spring of our life is like past. The spring of our life is like from the time we born up until we get about 16. Then the summer of our life comes in, right at those high school years, and go on into our early 30s, you know what I'm saying, before we fully start getting responsible. You know what I mean? That's the summer of our life. I had my first child and my second child and everything going good. He said, but then, you got to understand, that season going to come to an end, and it's going to be harvest time. You see? I don't like to believe right now I'm at harvest time in my life. I done been through summer. Summer's gone. All those wonderful, youthful things, they gone. It's about harvest now. Because harvest is dealing with that last go-round. I got to make an impact with these last years that I got. I'm 55 years old. I don't know that the Most High gonna grant me the grace to live to be 65. He might let me get 65, but what about 75? Whatever time I got left, this is harvesting time, baby. This is time to harvest up everything that I can get my hands on that's good. I'm gonna end the video right there. Go deal with this stopped up nose. I know my voice probably sound kind of funny, but as I said before, we're gonna do videos all month on this wisdom factor. And I hope somebody been blessed from some of the things that we heard. We're going to continuously be in prayer that the Spirit is able to give us real life examples so that we can see beyond a shadow of a doubt how these things going to be made applicable. Peace and blessings on all of you.